could use the exact models, I could use different models, or I could use images that I get from someplace. So don't be locked into any one model. You know, all this stuff should look relatively the same. I'm not going to try to trick you, but just don't be locked into any one model. Anyway, what's this? Thyroid. Okay. What's not shown here, but what would be there? Thymus. Good. Other things. What would be on the posterior surface of this? Parathyroid. Good. I'm gonna have to do some surgery here. What would those be? All right. There are no male or female hormones. This model is in transition. I guess I don't know. So we're gonna put this away for now. Oh, sorry. Almost forgot one. What's that? Pancreas. That's the pancreas. Okay. All right. Some other models we have are this big overview model thing. All right. So this is in no particular order. What are these? Those are the parathyroids. What's the orange stuff? That's the thyroid at the back. What's this guy? That's the pancreas. Good. All right, don't be confused. What's this? Pituitary. It's not the testicles. Okay. Which part of the pituitary is this?
Posterior.
Yeah, that's the posterior. You can tell those are the actual neurons going down into the posterior pituitary. This is the infundibulum, and then this is the anterior. Okay. Up here would be what brain part? Hypothalamus. What's this? Yeah, this is the thyroid. This is that pyramidal lobe. They put it on here. Not everybody has it. Only about 50% people. What's this? That's right, adrenal gland. What's this? That's the testes. And then, what's this? Ovaries. Okay. There's some male and female models back there. Make sure you just glance at those two. You can see how the ovary looks there. This is the sagittal face model. Some things on here that you need to know. Let's see. What is this? Pineal gland. What's that? Pituitary. What's this area? Hypothalamus. What's that? That's the thalamus. I don't think I'm asking you about that now, but anyway. Okay. All right. I told you we won't do that. You won't be held accountable for the sheep brain dissections. We haven't done it yet. Hopefully, we'll get some time to do that. So it won't be on the quiz, but it'll probably then be on the practical when we do that. The other thing is you don't have to worry about the fetal pig on the quiz, but because we haven't done it, that's on the schedule. I think it's next week or the week after that. We'll do the fetal pig, but you don't need to know it for the quiz. In terms of microscope slides. What's this? That's the pituitary. All right. What's this part?
Anterior.
That's anterior. Okay. It's darker staining. It's actually more cellular than the posterior pituitary back here. This is if you went into a little bit higher magnification, you might actually see some threads are in here that represent axons. Okay? But what you don't see is a bunch of little clusters of glandular type cells. Okay? Remember, they call this the adenohypophysis, which means glandular pituitary. They call this the neurohypophysis, which means the neuron pituitary, the nervous system pituitary. As I mentioned, there's a direct connection between the posterior and the hypothalamus. So look, if you follow this up, notice what's happening. It's basically continuous with this part of the infundibulum, which is represented in 3, and that's going to go up and it's going to become or attach to the hypothalamus. All right?
So 3 is the infundibulum?
3 is the infundibulum. You can see, I mean, these are neurons that are coming right down and going right into the posterior pituitary.
I think that's why I was so thrown off, because mine looked like it was like cut in the middle. It was like
Yours
so
was,
strange.
yeah, well, most of your guys in class were cut in the middle. Also, when they processed your slides, a lot of them got split apart here, so you saw a big gap
Yeah,
that was
just
there.
thrown
The other
off.
thing they did that might have thrown you off was they included a lot of brain tissue, too.
Oh,
Just
okay.
so you might have seen some extra stuff up here that was brain tissue. But if you looked at the brain tissue actually looked a lot like the posterior pituitary because it had a lot of neurons in it. Right side, what is it?
Anterior.
That's anterior pituitary, left side is posterior. Now, this is a view that maybe some of you saw. This is still the pituitary, all right? But instead of cutting it sagittally like this, they cut it transverse, okay? So you almost got to think three-dimensionally. What part of the pituitary do you think this is? That's anterior. Remember what they said, too. The anterior, it makes up a lot more of the mass of the pituitary than the posterior. This is the little posterior. So you can see on this type of a cut, it's almost like the anterior sort of forms like the letter C and surrounds it, you know, in that direction. Anyway, that's still pituitary. Don't be thrown off. It was just a different way that they cut it. What's this? That's thyroid. I hope you find it easy to identify. I think it's one of the easiest to identify. What's this pinkish purplish stuff? That's the colloid. What's one of these whole things called? A follicle, and then these are the little follicular cells. I don't know if you need to know it or not, but what do you think these cells would be called here? Those are parafollicular cells. Those are the ones that make the calcitonin. Just can't get enough. Here's another picture of the thyroid again. One of these things, the entire thing represents a follicle. You have the little follicular cells, and then the stuff in the middle is colloid. Still can't get enough. All right, here's more. Thyroid. Again, that colloid is a dead giveaway. You know, seeing this stuff there. This I like because this is a 2 for 1 slide. So what do you see on here? What is most of what you're seeing on here? Most of this is thyroid, right? But what do you have here? That's one of the parathyroids. These little guys over here, in case anybody's wondering, those are probably lymph nodes, little lymph nodes that are off to the side. Anyway, you can definitely see the colloid, the follicles. It's really easy to see. You won't see that in the parathyroid. It's tightly clustered cells that stain, usually dark purple with your typical stain. This is a close-up of the parathyroid. Most of these dark, clustered, tightly cells, the smaller cells, are your chief cells, also known as your principal cells. They're the guys that make the PTH. Some of these weirder, bigger ones that have larger cytoplasm, maybe a few scattered up in there, those would be oxyphil cells. Okay? Much less common than the chief cells. What's this? That's the adrenal gland, all right? What's this little thing going around here? That's the capsule, okay? What's this part here? Zona glomerulosa, okay? And then you have the middle part, which is the fasciculata, and then it gets dark again, and that's the reticularis, and then what's this part? The medulla, all right? The way it works with the staining is it's sort of, it's tough to see here, but it typically starts out dark in the glomerulosa, light in the fasciculata, and then dark again in the reticularis. It's subtle here, but that's how it works. That's the medulla in the middle. This is really obvious. This is a nice one. All right. What's this area here? Medulla. Okay. By the way, the reason why it looks like this is because they basically cut the top off an adrenal gland. Like picture it like a little triangular hat. They chop the top off, so you're seeing the capsule go all the way around, and you're seeing the cortex go all the way around with the medulla in the middle. If you look at the cortex, you get to see, you now kind of see the difference in the darkness of staining that I was talking about. So this part here would be what part? That's the glomerulosa. This thick part is the fasciculata, and then this is the reticularis, and then the medulla in the middle. I think there's one slide in class that looks like that. The other ones are all a little bit confusing. This is just another picture. It's fairly, it's much more subtle, but it helps when they label it like this. Anyway, glomerulosa, fasciculata, darker again, reticularis, and then the medulla. And actually the medulla, if you compare it, it's going to look a lot like the posterior pituitary because it has the same type of nervous tissue that the posterior pituitary has. Totally different organ. What's this?
Pancreas.
This is the pancreas. What are most of these little guys? Those are acini, and they're part of the, I don't know if you have to know it yet, but those are part of the exocrine stuff. We're going to talk a whole lot more about those guys when we do digestive system. What are these guys?
Islets of Langerhans.
Yeah, those are the islets of Langerhans, or the pancreatic islets. Okay. One more. A little bit more subtle, maybe like the ones a little like you saw in class. But again, most of what you're seeing are the acini. But these guys over here would be some of the islets. Okay. All right, that's it. Any questions about any stuff? Again, there is stuff on Blackboard that you can look at if you want some extra help, or you can